A very good morning wherever you're watching us from. This is the second day of the month of June 2023. I hope that you have a fine night and a good beginning to the day. Friday, of course, a day that we call it, or we used to call it, Members Day. I don't know if it is still Members Day nowadays, but I want to take this opportunity to welcome you to the morning show, Kirk in the Morning here. My name is Vincent Kerosi. We have a lot lined up for you. We want to look at what transpired yesterday in the Madaraka celebration, the 60th celebrations of Madaraka Day that happened in the county of Embu, led by the President of the Republic of Kenya, that is President William Ruto. But that's later in the show. But first things first, of course, my name is Vincent Kerosi. I want us to look at what is happening on the roads this morning. Then later, the newspaper. Then we'll come back to the conversation together with my panelists. Let's begin by looking at what is happening on the roads. Well, let's have a look at what is happening on Mombasa Road this morning. Mombasa Road is actually very friendly this morning. It seems that people are still on holiday. There are people who, yesterday, some take a longer holiday than it is. So probably people are still resting after the conclusions of yesterday. So Mombasa Road on my web here, it looks really friendly all the way from Jomo Kenyatta all through to Nyayo Stadium, all through to Uhuru Highway to the CBD. Very friendly, no traffic snarl-ups this morning reported on Mombasa Road. Maybe let's have a look at what is happening on Langata Road as well. Langata Road, if I have a look at what is happening from Galleria Mall all the way stretching to Nyayo roundabout, it's also very friendly this morning. It seems people are on holiday mode, so they are not up early this morning. So it's a good time to be on the roads in the city this morning, because if I look at the stretch, even on Magadi Road, that's all the way from Rongai, no traffic to report this morning, and this is quite unusual to speak about Magadi Road this morning. Let's have a look at what is happening probably on Thika Road this morning. Thika Road all the way from all the way to Muthaiga. Very friendly, a little bit of a snarl-up between Muthaiga there, just after Kenya Utalii College to Pangani Shopping Center. There is a little bit of a snarl-up there, but again, not so long and not so big to call it. So it's not a bad time to be on Thika Road this morning. Let's have a look at what is happening on Juja Road. Juja Road inbound to the city, a little bit of traffic here and there from Moi Forces Academy or through to Chai Road, but things are not as bad this morning. Maybe have a look at what is happening probably on Outer Ring Road connection to Yogo Road this morning. Outer Ring Road, a connection from Thika Road, it's a little bit of a snarl-up, but again, it eases on after Kariobangi there. Maybe have a look at Kangundo Road as well. Kangundo Road this morning for Mama Lucy, not bad. A little bit of traffic around there, just around Total Energies there in Kangundo Road. What is happening on Jogo Road this morning? Jogo Road as well, very friendly. It seems that it's not a bad day to be, canvassing your way through the city this morning. So basically, that is what is happening on the roads this morning. If there are incidents or accidents that you like to report, you can do that. Maybe have a look at what you say. Kileleshwa Road and Githunguri Road, no traffic jam, of course. That is a report from Malomo there. But there is something here that of course Kenya posted yesterday that there are construction scheduled to take place along Mombasa Road between Nyayo Stadium roundabout and Nairobi Southern Bypass interchange. That's at Parkside Towers. There are scheduled to be constructions or repairs that will take place between 10 p.m. in the night to 5 a.m. between yesterday, the 1st, and the 6th of June. So be informed that this is going to probably affect the traffic on those mentioned areas. Basically, that is the report on the roads this morning. If you have an incident or an accident that you would like us to report, kindly let us know through our social media pages, Kirk TV Kenya, on Facebook and Twitter, and as well as our SMS number, and be able to inform the public accordingly. That is the traffic update. Well, after the traffic updates, maybe have a look at what is written in the papers this morning. Well, the papers today, I have with me the Daily Nation and, of course, the Standard this morning. And the top page of the Daily Nation reports, "This is my promise to you." This, of course, the President William Ruto yesterday during his speech at the 60th celebrations of Madaraka Day. President said this: "Transport, I plan to roll out an electric vehicle public transport system, introduction of electric motorcycles for borders." On health, the President said that he intends to reform the NHIF, deliver universal health coverage, recruit community health promoters across the country. On education, he promised to redesign the CBC curriculum, which is ongoing, of course, and plans to launch the National Open University. On Hustler Fund, he launched the second phase of the fund that will offer loans of between 20,000 to $1 million shillings to registered groups. Those are the promises the President highlighted yesterday during his speech, the 60th celebrations of Madaraka Day. The President William Ruto yesterday outlined his achievements in his 8 months in office, even as he made more pledges to transform the economy and shape up his legacy. He also defended the controversial housing levy, saying it will deliver jobs to thousands of youths, and admitted the high cost of living was keeping him awake at night. This story is covered on page 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 of the Nation this morning. Very nice pictures there in page 2 of the Nation. You know, it was just color and pomp. You know, when Kenya turned 60, or when Kenya celebrated its 60th birthday there, as well as we see pictures there of other pictures of the celebrations elsewhere. Picture there of Busia Governor Paul Otuoma there, celebrating in Busia as well. Narok Governor there, and Parkin Tutu as well. Tharaka the governor there also, who attended the Mashujaa Day, the Madaraka Day celebrations in Embu yesterday. Kalempom there, of course, as far as that is concerned. So as we say, the story covered on page 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 of the Nation this morning. But Azimio MPs, nothing to smell about in speech that scattered cost of living. Story covered on page 7 of the Nation this morning. Opposition lawmakers have dismissed President William Ruto's speech yesterday, saying it failed to provide measures to curb the high cost of living and did not outline a route to economic revival. Of course, that is as far as the opposition coalition is concerned. Now, maybe we have a look at another story here. Treasury sets aside 25 billion shillings to pay oil dealers. See the submitted changes to 2023-2024 budget to include the payments. All right, let's have a look at stories covered on the Standard this morning as well. The Standard, the top page of the Standard this morning. More promises as Kenya turns 60. It's all about the speech of the president yesterday. And this is what the president said. President William Ruto yesterday urged the country to back his reform plan, saying the future can only be safeguarded through the measures he is putting in place, like housing fund and job creation. The highlights from yesterday: affordable housing program aims to enable Mama Mboga access and afford a mortgage and embark on a journey towards home ownership. Prioritizing the processing and value addition of agricultural products. This is being achieved through the establishment of county industrial parks. Government has stepped up the establishment of 5 additional export zones in next financial year. That is in Sagana, Thika, Njoro, Eldoret, and Busia. And of course, borders yesterday also will be able to ride electric motorcycles by September to cope with the rise in international petroleum prices. The president also said his government is committed in delivering the universal health coverage that enables every Kenyan attain dignified health care at a minimal cost. And finally, he also said the National Open University will obtain its charter this month, and courses are being uploaded for commissioning. That's all about online studies for those that are willing to do that. And there is this National Open University that will obtain its charter, so we'll be able to, get your course completed at the comfort of your home. Well, on page 3, Calm Pomp, music, dance, and pageantry at the 60th birthday. Good pictures there of students, mamas, and youth there enjoying themselves there during the celebrations at Embu. Now, the story there is the feature echoes from the past 60 years of independence, and the freedoms we dreamed of remain a mirage. Yes, you can have a read at what is said there. And now, I saw all the 5 presidents take office. They put country first. This is all about the voice of legendary broadcaster Leonard Mambo Mbotela there, saying he saw all the 5 presidents that we've had so far take oath of office, and what he says, all the presidents put Kenya first. You can read that feature there, covered by the Standard on page 4 and 5 this morning. A story on page 6, how colonialists try to erase Matthew's name from our history. A feature there as well, covered on page 6 and 7, of the Standard this morning. Housing levy will address indignity of slum life. That is from the speech of William Ruto. Of course, the Standard taking time to break down the speech of the president yesterday. So that's basically what is covered in the papers this morning. You want to read the more juicy stories in the papers, grab your favorite, and you'll be able to in depth understand what my fellow journalists have covered in the pages of the papers this morning. That is the newspaper review. Do not go away. We take a short break. When we come back, we embark on the breakdown of the 60th Madaraka Day celebration, specifically the speech of the president yesterday, the promises, the highlights of what he's got to achieve for the past 8 months of his regime. And also remember that you can weigh in on the conversation through our social media pages, Kirk TV Kenya on Facebook, Kirk TV Kenya on Twitter, as well as our SMS number 0311220004. We'll be able to look at what you state this morning. Do not go away. We'll be right back with Kelvin Gundi and also Biko Shioya, who is an advocate of the High Court, to just look at what was in the speech yesterday.
Nipende kuchukua fursa hii kukaribisha sana katika presbytery yetu ya Tanzania, Mission Presbytery, na hasa katika kanisa letu la PCA St. John's Kinondoni. Karibu katika ibada zetu na uweze kuitembelea Tanzania mahali popote ulipo. Tunakukaribisha sana na hakika tutafurahi sana tutakapokuona. Ndugu mtazamaji, uendelee kubarikiwa, uendelee kuinuliwa. Mungu wa amani awe pamoja nawe. Kwa jina lake Mwenyezi Mungu Baba, Mwana na Roho Mtakatifu. Amen.
John Maxwell once said, "A reader is the one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way." Simply put, readership is all about vision and influence. Join me, Robert Waihenya Goge, the Secretary General of the Presbyterian Church of East Africa, every first Monday of the month from 8 p.m. as we microscopically look at the reality, specificity, and simplicity of leadership only on Kirk TV. Specificity.
Uongozini, a show by the leader, for the leader.
PCEA Women's Guild Week 2023 is around the corner, starting this Sunday the 28th of May 2023 at 8 p.m. The department invites you to the launch of the week by the PCA moderator Right Reverend Segumtahi, hosted by the Women's Guild Director Reverend Elizabeth Kimani, live on Kirk TV. This year's Guild Week is inspired by the book of Philippians chapter 3 verse 14. I am pressing on towards the goal. Throughout the week, there will be exciting and insightful engagement for your consumption. Every morning from 7 a.m., tune in for refreshing morning devotions, daily evening shows from 8 p.m. and to wind up your day, daily evening epilogues. The Guild Week climax will be a Sunday service at PCEA Kingongo on Sunday, 4th June, and will be transmitted live on Kirk TV.
Ndugu mtazamaji, nipende kuchukua fursa hii kukaribisha sana katika presbytery yetu ya Tanzania, Mission Presbytery, na hasa katika kanisa letu la PCA St. John's Kinondoni. Karibu katika ibada zetu na uweze kuitembelea Tanzania mahali popote ulipo. Tunakukaribisha sana na hakika tutafurahi sana tutakapokuona. Ndugu mtazamaji, uendelee kubarikiwa, uendelee kuinuliwa. Mungu wa amani awe pamoja nawe. Kwa jina lake Mwenyezi Mungu Baba, Mwana na Roho Mtakatifu. Amen.
John Maxwell once said, "A reader is the one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way." Simply put, readership is all about vision and influence. Join me, Robert Waihenya Goge, the Secretary General of the Presbyterian Church of East Africa, every first Monday of the month from 8 p.m. as we microscopically look at the reality, specificity, and simplicity of leadership only on Kirk TV. Specificity.
Uongozini, a show by the leader, for the leader.
PCEA Women's Guild Week 2023 is around the corner, starting this Sunday the 28th of May 2023 at 8 p.m. The department invites you to the launch of the week by the PCA moderator Right Reverend Segumtahi, hosted by the Women's Guild Director Reverend Elizabeth Kimani, live on Kirk TV. This year's Guild Week is inspired by the book of Philippians chapter 3 verse 14. I am pressing on towards the goal.
Throughout the week, there will be exciting and insightful engagement for your consumption. Every morning from 7 a.m., tune in for refreshing morning devotions, daily evening shows from 8 p.m., and to wind up your day, daily evening epilogues. The Guild Week climax will be a Sunday service at PCEA Kingongo on Sunday, 4th June, and will be transmitted live on Kirk TV.
Ndugu mtazamaji, nipende kuchukua fursa hii kukaribisha sana katika presbytery yetu ya Tanzania, Mission Presbytery, na hasa katika kanisa letu la PCA St. John's Kinondoni. Karibu katika ibada zetu na uweze kuitembelea Tanzania mahali popote ulipo. Tunakukaribisha sana na hakika tutafurahi sana tutakapokuona. Ndugu mtazamaji, uendelee kubarikiwa, endelee kuinuliwa. Mungu wa amani awe pamoja nawe. Kwa jina lake Mwenyezi Mungu Baba, Mwana na Roho Mtakatifu. Amen.
PCEA Women's Guild Week 2023 is around the corner. Starting this Sunday, the 28th of May 2023 at 8 p.m., the department invites you to the launch of the week.
Mtazamaji, nipende kuchukua fursa hii kukaribisha sana katika presbytery yetu ya Tanzania, Mission Presbytery, na hasa katika kanisa letu la PCA St. John's Kinondoni. Karibu katika ibada zetu na uweze kuitembelea Tanzania mahali popote ulipo. Tunakukaribisha sana na hakika tutafurahi sana tutakapokuona. Ndugu mtazamaji, uendelee kubarikiwa, endelee kuinuliwa. Mungu wa amani awe pamoja nawe. Kwa jina lake Mwenyezi Mungu Baba, Mwana na Roho Mtakatifu. Amen.
John Maxwell once said, "A reader is the one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way." Simply put, readership is all about vision and influence. Join me, Robert Waihenya Goge, the Secretary General of the Presbyterian Church of East Africa, every first Monday of the month from 8 p.m. as we microscopically look at the reality, specificity, and simplicity of leadership only on Kirk TV. Specificity.
Uongozini, a show by the leader, for the leader. PCEA Women's Guild Week 2023 is around the corner. Starting this Sunday, the 28th of May 2023 at 8 p.m., the department invites you to the launch of the week by the PCA moderator, Right Reverend Segumtahi, hosted by the Women's Guild Director, Reverend Elizabeth Kimani, live on Kirk TV. This year's Guild Week is inspired by the book of Philippians chapter 3 verse 14. I am pressing on towards the goal. Throughout the week, there will be exciting and insightful engagement for your consumption. Every morning from 7 a.m., tune in for refreshing morning devotions, daily evening shows from 8 p.m. and to wind up your day, daily evening epilogues. The Guild Week climax will be a Sunday service at PCEA Kingongo on Sunday, 4th June, and will be transmitted live on Kirk TV.
Ndugu mtazamaji, nipende kuchukua fursa hii kukaribisha sana katika presbytery yetu ya Tanzania Mission Presbytery, na hasa katika kanisa letu la PCA St. John's Kinondoni. Karibu katika ibada zetu na uweze kuitembelea Tanzania mahali popote ulipo. Tunakukaribisha sana na hakika tutafurahi sana tutakapokuona. Ndugu mtazamaji, uendelee kubarikiwa, uendelee kuinuliwa. Mungu wa amani awe pamoja nawe. Kwa jina lake Mwenyezi Mungu Baba, Mwana na Roho Mtakatifu. Amen.
John Maxwell once said, a reader is the one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. Simply put, readership is all about vision and influence. Join me, Robert Waihenya Goge, the Secretary General of the Presbyterian Church of East Africa, every first Monday of the month from 8 p.m. as we microscopically look at the reality, specificity, and simplicity of leadership only on Kirk TV. Specificity.
Uongozini, a show by the leader, for the leader. PCEA Women's Guild Week 2023 is around the corner, starting this Sunday the 28th of May 2023 at 8 p.m. The department invites you to the launch of the week by the PCA moderator Right Reverend Thegumtahi, hosted by the Women's Guild Director Reverend Elizabeth Kimani, live on Kirk TV. This year's Guild Week is inspired by the book of Philippians chapter 3 verse 14. I am pressing on towards the goal. Throughout the week, there will be exciting and insightful engagement for your consumption. Every morning from 7 a.m., tune in for refreshing morning devotions, daily evening shows from 8 p.m. and to wind up your day, daily evening epilogues. The Guild Week climax will be a Sunday service at PCEA Kingongo on Sunday, 4th June, and will be transmitted live on Kirk TV.
Ndugu mtazamaji, nipende kuchukua fursa hii kukaribisha sana katika presbytery yetu ya Tanzania Mission Presbytery, na hasa katika kanisa letu la PCA St. John's Kinondoni. Karibu katika ibada zetu na uweze kuitembelea Tanzania mahali popote ulipo. Tunakukaribisha sana na hakika tutafurahi sana tutakapokuona. Ndugu mtazamaji, uendelee kubarikiwa, uendelee kuinuliwa. Mungu wa amani awe pamoja nawe. Kwa jina lake Mwenyezi Mungu Baba, Mwana na Roho Mtakatifu. Amen.
PCEA Women's Guild Week 2023 is around the corner, starting this Sunday the 28th of May 2023 at 8 p.m. The department invites you to the launch of the week by the PCA moderator Right Reverend Thegumtahi, hosted by the Women's Guild Director Reverend Elizabeth Kimani, live on Kirk TV. This year's Guild Week is inspired by the book of Philippians chapter 3 verse 14. I am pressing on towards the goal. Throughout the week, there will be exciting and insightful engagement for your consumption. Every morning from 7 a.m., tune in for refreshing morning devotions, daily evening shows from 8 p.m., and to wind up your day, daily evening epilogues. The Guild Week climax will be a Sunday service at PCEA Kingongo on Sunday, 4th June, and will be transmitted live on Kirk TV.
Ndugu mtazamaji, nipende kuchukua fursa hii kukaribisha sana katika presbytery yetu ya Tanzania Mission Presbytery, na hasa katika kanisa letu la PCA St. John's Kinondoni. Karibu katika ibada zetu na uweze kuitembelea Tanzania mahali popote ulipo. Tunakukaribisha sana na hakika tutafurahi sana tutakapokuona. Ndugu mtazamaji, uendelee kubarikiwa, uendelee kuinuliwa. Mungu wa amani awe pamoja nawe. Kwa jina lake Mwenyezi Mungu Baba, Mwana na Roho Mtakatifu. Amen. Mtazamaji, nipende kuchukua fursa hii kukaribisha sana katika presbytery yetu ya Tanzania Mission Presbytery, na hasa katika kanisa letu la PCA St. John's Kinondoni. Karibu katika ibada zetu na uweze kuitembelea Tanzania mahali popote ulipo. Tunakukaribisha sana na hakika tutafurahi sana tutakapokuona. Ndugu mtazamaji, uendelee kubarikiwa, uendelee kuinuliwa. Mungu wa amani awe pamoja nawe. Kwa jina lake Mwenyezi Mungu Baba, Mwana na Roho Mtakatifu. Amen.
John Maxwell once said, "A reader is the one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way." Simply put, readership is all about vision and influence. Join me, Robert Waihenya Goge, the Secretary General of the Presbyterian Church of East Africa, every first Monday of the month from 8 p.m. as we microscopically look at the reality, specificity, and simplicity of leadership only on Kirk TV. Specificity.
Uongozini, a show by the leader, for the leader. PCEA Women's Guild Week 2023 is around the corner, starting this Sunday the 28th of May 2023 at 8 p.m. The department invites you to the launch of the week by the PCA moderator Right Reverend Thegumtahi, hosted by the Women's Guild Director Reverend Elizabeth Kimani, live on Kirk TV. This year's Guild Week is inspired by the book of Philippians chapter 3 verse 14, "I am pressing on towards the goal." Throughout the week, there will be exciting and insightful engagement for your consumption. Every morning from 7 a.m., tune in for refreshing morning devotions, daily evening shows from 8 p.m. and to wind up your day, daily evening epilogues. The Guild Week climax will be a Sunday service at PCEA Kingongo on Sunday, 4th June, and will be transmitted live on Kirk TV.
Ndugu mtazamaji,
Alright, welcome back, Kirk in the morning. It's on. It's about that time we have a conversation this morning. The 60th birthday of the Republic of Kenya. How was it yesterday? We look at the speech of the president, try to break it down, the hits and misses from that speech itself. What did you expect, you as Mwananchi? Did he get to address what you expected? What did we expect as panelists as well as journalists? What did we get? That is what we want to look at, because the papers this morning, actually if you look at the Daily Nation, they started this morning, the top page, it's all about the promises that the president had to make yesterday. And I know that we have had a look at this, but I want us to look at exactly what transpired. But before then, all about time to welcome my panelists in studio. At my far right there is Big Ashioya. He is an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. Told me that he had a long night. I don't know, is it because of the celebrations, the aftermath of celebrations of the Madaraka Day, but it's going to tell us that. And in my near right here is Kelvin Good, a political commentator for that matter. Welcome, gentlemen, into the studio.
Yes,
why did you sleep late, Wakili?
Working. There's something I was working on, which probably I wouldn't want to disclose on national television.
Oh, so you are not in Embu?
No, I wasn't in Embu.
Oh.
I wasn't, but I followed very closely what was happening in Embu.
I thought you were in Embu because after the celebrations at Moi Stadium,
yes,
there was a cocktail, a dinner, whatever, evening party at the regional commissioner's residence. I thought that is where you are. Good. How did you follow it yesterday? On telly, or you were on telly, or you were at Embu?
I followed it from home.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now, welcome. And I want us to look at, you've read the papers, I know. You've had a glimpse of what the journalists are saying. And they are saying it's all about promises yesterday. It's 8 months since the Kenya Kwanza regime took power. 8 months later, and it's a proper, let's say this is their first proper public holiday after they have had the government in place, including all the CSs, the CS, the PSs, and you heard what the president said. I want to ask you from the word go, what is your take from the president's speech? Were there hits, were there misses for you, Akili?
Thank you so much, Vincent. In my very honest opinion, I think we had more misses than hits in yesterday's speech. I honestly expected that the president would come up with a scorecard.
Okay.
Much as it's 8 months into his administration, I very honestly expected that the president would have come up with a scorecard. To tell Kenyans that, look here, we promised that within the first 100 days in our administration we would be doing 1, 2, 3. We have actually achieved that which we had promised Kenyans that we would do, or we would execute within the first 100 days, or that which we had promised Kenyans that we would execute within the first 60 days. It is time to make this government account to whatever it is that they promised Kenyans, and to make them stop giving more promises. We as a nation have experienced so much of what they promised and which they haven't delivered so far. And I think, in my very honest opinion, it would be unfair for the government or for the previous for the current administration to continue promising. It is high time that this administration started giving us what they have achieved, what they promised Kenyans, and what they have achieved within the short period of time that they've been in government. Unlike the continued promising that they've been giving Kenyans all along. Yes.
Okay, hold on. Let me hear from the UDA ardent follower here, and this is Kelvin Gundi. You followed what the celebration was, how the speech, what the speech was from the president and of course the deputy president. What was your takeaway from the speech first?
From my side, I can say that there were more hits, because of course you see, yesterday was a big day. We were to look back from independence, at least how we have come through, where we are now, and what is the future. Okay. So of course he gave us that, and of course like my friend is saying, but he did not tell us what he has done. But of course he said what he has done and what he is about to do. You see, 8 months down the line, of course, as you have said, but he has said to the government, and now it is time to work. Now, what has he achieved already? He said that, of course, we have been in the planting season, and of course, this year, we have done more than we did before. And he was saying that, was it close to 200,000 acres, extra than last year? And of course, more seeds have been planted. So, of course, we're in the right direction. In fact, considering where we have come from, you see, Kenya, we are depending on agriculture. And if, of course, we have been in a drought season.
Yeah, for the past few years. Yeah.
Yes, of course, you have seen the famine, and of course, again, there was a period of corona. So, of course, it has been tough, and people are feeling it. Yes.
And when we look at that, you've said there were more hits than misses. Yeah. You say there were more misses than hits. Yes. We're going to get to understand what you mean by that. But before then, I want us to listen to a particular bit of the president, because he had an opportunity yesterday as well to talk about the issues that are of potent importance to the Kenyans right about now, and still about the Finance Bill 2023. Because that made part of his speech yesterday, a larger part for that matter, and that's an issue I also want us to look at at this morning. But before then, let's have a listen at what the president said pertaining that, so that now we begin breaking down what you expect and what came out yesterday. Let's listen first to the bit on the finance bill.
I have had many ask me, Mr. President, how is it my responsibility to think about those who do not have jobs? How is it my responsibility to think about the people who live in slums? 7 million Kenyans who live in slums, in indignity, without toilet, without running water, without roads. How is it my business? Let me ask the people of Kenya, if our freedom fighters, the people who made the ultimate sacrifice and lost their lives in liberating our nation, if they had asked the question that how is it their business, today we would continue to have been slaves of our masters if they asked themselves that question. It is our responsibility to ensure the people, 7 million of them, who live in our slums, including Shauri Yako here in Embu. I was here last week and I was informed about Shauri Yako. The people who live in Shauri Yako deserve a decent house, and it is our responsibility as we implement the housing plan, not just to create jobs, at least 1 million jobs every year. It is also our responsibility to grow our manufacturing.
Well, that's the president on the Finance Bill 2023, which has brought jitters and I call it on equal measure from whichever part of the political divide that you find yourself in. But even before we talk about the Finance Bill 2023 and what the president tried to break down yesterday, if you look at what he said yesterday, actually what came out that he called an achievement for him was, for long, tertiary education in Kenya has been a privilege of the most fortunate, while university education was the exclusive entitlement of the elites, not and more. That is one thing that he said his government has tried to achieve, because I think it's a few weeks ago, I think a month or so ago, when he brought out what he thinks should be done to ensure that all students in Kenya get equal access to a higher learning, that's to tertiary education. And another thing that he pointed out, of course, is the Hustler Fund, when he said his government has worked to ensure that Kenyan entrepreneurs have equal access to credit and in interests that are friendly. And of course, after that, he launched the second phase of the Hustler Fund. Even as we look at what he has done and what he has not done in 8 months or so, I mean, for me, we do think that the Hustler Fund, so far so good, is something that we can say the Kenya the Kenya government, the Kenya Kwanza government for that matter, has achieved. Anything about?
Hustler Fund has been a big fail. It's been a big fail.
Because before you say that it's a big fail, yes. 30 billion or so has been disbursed.
Yes.
We have like 42. We have like 30 billion or so has been disbursed, right, for that matter.
Yes.
And 20.2 million Kenyans have access for that matter to the credit.
How much has been repaid?
20 billion or so, according to what he said yesterday. 19.7 billion has been repaid.
Yeah. Out of 30 billion that has been borrowed.
Yeah.
What does that one speak to the sustainability of that fund? It speaks to a fund that is not sustainable, and that is why I'm telling you that it's been a big fail. The reason why I'm saying that is, okay, so far we have almost we have more, upwards of 15 billion that is out there that is unpaid. We do not know whether that fund, whether that money is going to be to be paid back into the economy. We are talking about monies that do not belong to government. We are talking about as in monies that do not belong to individuals. This is money that belongs to government. This is money that belongs to Kenyans. So within the short period of time that we have dispensed with that government has dispensed the Hustlers Fund, that is not more than 5 months old, we already have 15 billion that is out there unaccounted for. This is within 3 or 4 months. If we are to extrapolate that one and say that within every 4 months of the dispensing of the Hustlers Fund, the government will be unaccounting for 15 billion. What becomes of the 6 years that this? What becomes of the 5 years that this money would be dispensed? We are probably saying that this government will be there until 2027 or 2032. What becomes of these 10 years? That the Hustler Fund will be dispensed to Kenyans and the monies will be unaccounted for. But even be that as it may, let's say that Kenyans are going to be these diligent human beings. They're going to honor their credit to they're going to honor their credit to government and pay whatever it is that they owe government in terms of Hustlers Fund. How useful is Hustlers Fund to Kenyans? And that even speaks to its repairability. Yeah. You have access to the Hustlers Fund, or any other normal Kenyans has access to Hustlers Fund up to the tune of 500 shillings. What can you do with 500 shillings?
It depends on your of course your credibility, but yes, it's between 500 and 50,000 for that.
Most Kenyans, as we are talking right now, are only eligible to 500 shillings. Okay. Most of them, even if you have enrolled in that Hustlers Fund, you'd realize that before your credit worthiness pushes you to now ultimately borrow 50,000 shillings, you'll be given 500 shillings, you'll be given 1,000 shillings, 1,500 shillings. And I'm asking myself, even if it is Mama Mboga, the nyanya and kitungu that we used to buy for 20 bob, 2 or 3 nyanyas and kitungus we used to buy for 20 shillings, right now it's at 50 shillings. How much would you need as a Mama Mboga to borrow from government so that you can go all the way to Marikiti or to whatever informal market that you have, and purchase items worth 500 shillings and bring to your local station where you now sell to the common mwananchi? Right now, for people who stay, let's say, in a place like Rongai, they need 100 shillings from Rongai to town or to Gikomba market, and another 100 shillings from Gikomba market to Rongai. Same applies to people who stay in Kitengela and all these other places where there is affordable housing. So by the time they make that journey to and from the market, to and from the market, they've already used 200 shillings. It means that the only and that is because we have fuel that has not been subsidized. We have fuel that is now retailing at almost 200 shillings. So we are not going to see our transport or our fares going down anytime soon. So by the time they get to the market, they only have 300 shillings they only have 300 shillings out of the 500 shillings hustlers fund that they were given. How much can you buy with 300? How much can you purchase with 300 shillings, Vincent?
All right.
Nothing really. So we need to look at the soft issues about the economy that we are talking about, unlike all these big speeches that we give during Madaraka days like we had yesterday. That is my very honest opinion.
Yes. Let me get your take on Hustler Fund. How do you look at it for the past 5 months, the involvement? Is it a success or a failure to you?
To me it's a success, because if it was a failure, of course, we're going to be launching the second phase. And of course, there are 3 phases to it. You see, the first phase was between 500 and 50,000. And of course, the second one was for the business people. Now that you are in business, you can get this much by yourself without being in SACCO or chama. And of course, it was supposed to begin around March there, but of course the case is still with KRA. Actually, I've also applied for the business one, and of course I went to KRA to consult that.
How much did you get?
It was supposed to be between 10,000 and I think 1 million there. But now the problem about the KRA, they are still harmonizing their system. But then it's what they say that because 30 billion has been disbursed, and 10 billion is still with the people. The question is it not a default? Because this is a continuous thing. Of course, you are applying, you return, and again you borrow again. So of course the 10 billion wakili is not a defaulted one. But of course it is still with the people. So they are using it and they will borrow more.
Does it speak to the capacity to repay? Because if I give you 10 bob today, and there is a precondition that by the time I'm giving you these 10 shillings, you're supposed to repay it within a week, and then it gets to the end of that week and you haven't repaid the 10 shillings that I gave you. Now I want us to discuss what are these things that I may have encountered as a borrower of the 10 shillings that made it difficult for me to repay the 10 shillings within the period of time that I was given. Now those are the things that I want us to discuss, because then it will speak to the capacity of Kenyans to repay the monies that have been given to them by government. Right? So what are these things and you see, we are not talking about repaying 1 million. We are talking about repaying 500 shillings. Now if we do not have the capacity to repay 500 shillings, what makes you think that then when we are given 100,000 shillings, Kenyans are going to pay back?
Well, you want to answer before. Let me bring it as Wakila said there before, even as you continue. He's saying that you actually raised a point and said that the money, the 10 billion or so that is actually remaining out of the 30 billion that was disbursed and 20 million repaid back, is that it is in circulation. It's not defaulted. They are still circulating. They are still using it before they repay. We don't know that, but we know that 10 billion is in question here.
Yeah.
And Joaquin is saying this is 10 billion out of the 500 bob, and up to 50,000 has been always in circulation, or that has been being dispersed by the fund. Now, yesterday the government launched the second phase, that is between 20,000 and a million bob for groups. What is going to be what is going to make this a million or so shillings easier to pay if between 500 and 50,000 has been a mountainous task for that matter?
Like, I don't believe that has been a maintenance issue for that matter, because the question is like what will make you what qualifies you to get 1 million and not 100,000? You see, like you were saying, like your credit score, but you as a group, you must ensure that of course if you give this person money, you will be able to repay it back. Of course, like is taking it for business, not for consumption. So of course like it is upon you as a group, or it is upon you as a person, but the person whom we are with in this circle, like is able to repay this money because he's taking it to the business. Yes,
I can assure you, Vincent. Most of these 500 shillings that was borrowed by Kenyans from the Hustlers Fund was not used for any business related activity. It was used for their own personal and domestic consumption. And that one speaks to why it has not been repaid. If we are to go with the credit score, it means that the same Kenyans who borrowed the 500 shillings are the same Kenyans who are supposed to, who are now supposed to organize themselves in chamas and groups and so on and so forth to then access the group fund that is between the 20,000 shillings and the 1 million. And so at an individual level, you have already defaulted. And so this individual is now grouping and putting themselves in chamas, yes, to many individuals to go and borrow now the corporate, let me now call it the corporate fund of 20,000 shillings and 1 million. So there is already kuna madoadoa kwa hii group of persons who borrowed government's money and they are not repaid. What makes you think the government is now going to give them the 20,000 shillings with all these individuals who have defaulted paying the 500 shillings from government?
A question here is, but we gave 30 billion.
Yes.
And 20 has been returned.
Right.
But we can't be certain that this 10 is in default. Of course, like maybe like they have borrowed it again. Because you see, like this money, like it was first you borrow 500. Right. But of course, like as you borrow and you return, of course, like your amount increases. You can now borrow 2,000, you can now borrow up to 50.
You see, figures don't lie. In my statistics class,
but then
figures don't lie.
See, like, yes. If you have given out 30,
yes,
and of course, like more than a half,
right,
like almost 2/3 has been returned.
Yes.
Now, is it a failure or it's a success?
No, it's a failure. Let me tell you one thing, and let me contextualize it, or let me bring it much closer home. I give you 10 bob. Yeah. And I tell you that return this 10 bob within 1 week. You fail to return the 10 bob within 1 week. Or you tell me that, the 10 bob that you gave me, I injected it into my business, it is still in circulation. So it is just somewhere, still there. So give me 1 more week for me to repay this money. The bottom line is that I gave you 10 bob to return within 1 week. You haven't returned it within 1 week. It is a failure on your end to not have returned it within 1 week. These are the negotiations about, you see, the money that you gave me is still in circulation. I'm still trying to make it, grow from 10 bob to 15 shillings. Now these are other nitty-gritties which we have to question as a government. Why is it that I gave you 10 shillings to return within 1 week and you haven't returned it within 1 week? Is it because your business never picked up as in earnest like you had expected? Is it because you purchased goods that are slow moving? Is it because when I gave you the 10 bob, you also had other creditors who took your product on credit and they haven't repaid you, so you can't repay your 10 bob back to me? Those are the questions that we're supposed to be discussing, right? So on the face of it, the failure to return the 500 shillings that government has given you within the time frame that government gave you to repay that monies, that in and by itself is a failure. And if you ask the government technocrats, if you ask the people who are concerned with the disbursing of the Hustlers Fund, they will tell you that there is that the very honest response to whether there's been a failure or not is that there's been a failure. There has been a failure, and that informs, and it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. The only thing that I'm saying is that it informs their next steps in the dispensing of the monies in the second phase and in the third phase, because it is statistics. It is something that is going to inform.
Like we must look at the bigger picture also, right? You see, like Hustler Fund was a curative measure, because they're saying that hustlers could borrow, let's say normally, Hustler could borrow from these Shylocks. You borrow 1,000, then repay it on the same day, and you repay 1,000 and extra added on top.
Yes.
You see, that was a very high percentage. So they said that, okay, what if the government can intervene? So at least it was a creative measure. And again, you can look at this angle. You see, Safaricom was saying that just due to this Hustler Fund, we have now 2 million extra customers are now coming because of this Hustler Fund. So of course, if we look at the bigger picture, of course we can see it as a success, because, and of course, but it can't be 100% perfect. Yes. Of course, there must be some itches, but this is not the time to say that now this thing has failed. Just 5 months.
Let me just weigh in, Vincent. Okay. This thing is very close to my heart. Okay. Let me just weigh in in the next 1 minute. Okay. Before you take us. Okay. Yes. In the history of this country, we've never had a period where we have more Shylocks being registered as this period. These Shylocks in the names of and I don't want to mention their names. Sijui what credit and sijui what capital, sijui whatever it is. There has been no time when we have so many of them registered, like between the period when this Kenya Kwanza administration took power. We've had so many of them, and I can tell you that there are so many Kenyans who are suffering in the hands of these people. And that is why they will tell you, oh, if you have a logbook, we are going to give you, we are going to process 1 million shillings for you within 24 hours, within 12 hours. This is the time when it is happening the most, and it really pains me.
You see, how can you say that most of the Shylocks have registered in this regime? At least, do you have that data that this number?
At least we have figures. I know. Because I covered the story. I think it was sometime back when 60 or so new credit companies or new creditors were registered. I think it was somewhere near December and January when 60 new were registered. So I think factually,
the figures are out there. The figures are out there, and in fact, even when you are driving on our roads, there are those who are now, there are those who are occupying all the big billboards and even the small billboards that we have on. They're advertising themselves left, right, and center.
And the question is why so? The question is why so?
It speaks to Kenyans. Difficulty in accessing vulnerability in accessing funds, and the hustling the hustlers fund
difficulty, but the people ask to get money. That is the
and hustlers fund is not bridging that gap. That was the purpose of the hustling
measure. Like I said, that now hustler fund is a curative measure. Okay.
Is it a solution for that matter? But
what is the solution?
But even as we go around that conversation, let me ask the question. Wakili, you were saying something, and I wanted to weigh in earlier. That what are the reasons that might be making this borrower, encounter difficulties in repaying back the credit? Is it the environment that Kenyans are operating in? The economy is the cost of living is beyond the roof, and it's so difficult for them to even, work around their daily living to even get an opportunity to even pay a fraction of what they have taken. Should we begin there?
Yes.
What is the environment that Kenyans are operating around even if they had this credit from the hustler fund.
This government is punishing Kenyans while at the same time paying lip service to them. We can't describe them in any other any other way. They are actually punishing Kenyans. What happens? Let's even take a very good example to what is happening to devolution right now. Devolution is on its feet. Governors have been crying for monies to be released from the national government, like for the last 2 months. They have even threatened to shut down activities at the county. What is the government doing about it? How many Kenyans have been employed by the county governments? How many families are sustained by persons who are working for the county government? What is the government doing about it? We expect even at the very least that the national government will come out and say, hey, listen, we can't dispense these monies within the next 2 weeks or within the next 1 week, but then give us time. We are working on this. We are doing this. We are doing ABCD. Government is aloof. It is silent about it. What is the government doing about it? And that is why I'm saying this government is doing a lot of injustice to Kenyans while playing lip service to them.
You know, to answer you, but like, what is the government doing about it? You know, but like, life is tough in Kenya or currently, and you see, like, if people don't have money, because government depend on people to have money. Now, of course, like, people don't have money, but it's why, like, you can see what the president is saying. But what we are doing about it is about, like, this house levy. Like, we want to bring employment to the people. We want money to circulate so that at least we can get that money. Because what he's saying is, but there are two options. Either we get money from our people or we borrow. But he's saying that for borrowing now is a no. At least let's work on repaying the debt, because even our credit score now as a country is not good. Okay? Mm-hmm. So it is tough. And you can remember that, was it a period of, was it April? But salaries delayed for the employees of national government. Mm-hmm. And he was saying, and the president was asked, and he said that, of course, the money delayed. And people expected that I will borrow to pay salaries. But I said, no, but if it is to wait, then let them wait. But we will not borrow to pay salaries. Yes.
But have we stopped borrowing?
We haven't.
As a government, have we stopped borrowing?
You know, the question is that we are borrowing for what? Because as you can understand that the people are suffering, but what you are expecting is that you either get money from them or you borrow. But then, if you are borrowing, what are you borrowing for? That is the question.
Because the question is, have we stopped borrowing? I think we haven't, because as recent as last week, there was a fund actually that was approved, 300 and something billion shillings, yes. To come into the country, mm-hmm. From International Monetary Fund, if I'm not wrong. Mm-hmm. And this means that we haven't stopped borrowing.
Yes.
But again, the question is, what is the environment that our Kenyans are operating in? Is the government working towards ensuring that the government is friendly enough for them now to work and have that circulation of money so that we can have taxes, or we are making it even more difficult for Kenyans to be an opportunity to work for the country and also have an opportunity to pay taxes for that matter. But again, as you said, that Kenyans don't have money, or the government doesn't have money. But again, the government collects revenue every day. The government collects taxes every day. Where these taxes are going to? Are we not getting at the priorities right?
This government is in the business of is not in the business of saving monies for Kenyans. It's in the business of spending. And I can tell you, they are spending, and they are spending big time. If the money is that and my only problem, there's no problem in government spending. And in fact, when I'm talking to my friends who work in government, they tell me that government is in the business of spending. Government is never in the business of saving monies. And my question the question that I'm asking myself, are we prudently? Is the government prudently spending this money? If we only had prudence or prudent utilization of the monies that government is collecting from Kenyans, we wouldn't even be making all these noises that we're making. But let me give it to my colleague so that and sorry for cutting you short.
Yes, you see, like you said that during this period of Kenya Kwanza, of course, like many Shylocks have registered.
Been registered.
Yes. Now it is because life has been tough. And of course, he has asked that. Vincent has asked that. Now, what is the government doing about it? Because it is their duty to ensure that most of the people are working. Yeah. That's why we have now this finance bill, and now it's a debate to the nation.
Yes.
Because now people are feeling that, of course, like that there are more punitive measures that are coming in. But of course, like this is striving on bringing more employment. You see, like when COVID came, like it almost halved like employment that we have. You see, like for example, like ukiwa pale railways kwa stage, there this guy hapa anachoma mahindi, and was telling me that you know, like nimekuwa accountant for almost 20 years. But now when Corona came, like we were sent home, up now tujaitwa kazi. So you see like how hard it is. So of course you are at home, you are not getting any money, hauna savings. What do? Anachoma mahindi pale. So that's why like you need that as a fund. But now, what is government doing about it? Because you see, like government does not have money. Government depend on people to raise revenue. But we are saying, but government is in the business of spending, and they are raising revenue daily. You see, like what they were raising, like what they could raise before COVID, and now after COVID, like it has reduced immensely. So government has no money. So that's why like this finance bill is striving like to bring more people in the tax bracket. Yes.
Let me ask you, how does this finance bill bring more people into the tax bracket when there is a proposal to have the petroleum VAT increased from 8% to 16%? When there is a question of having every civil servant and anyone working who has a payslip to have their salaries deducted at a 3% rate for them to support the housing levy for that matter. How is this geared towards having more people into that taxation bracket?
Yeah, you know, like about petroleum, before I go to the other ones, you saw like on petroleum, like the president in his speech yesterday said that you see, like this is not within our control, because like you see the cost is rising, and it is worldwide, so we can't control it. But what we can do is we can strive to reduce like our need of petroleum products. That's why I was saying that now even in our transport sector we are trying in to bring electric vehicles, we are trying to bring in electric borders. But then when we say that the government will increase taxes or will deduct salaries, what they are saying is, but let's bring more people into the tax bracket.
Which people?
By reducing that salary, or by deducting that 3% from you and from your employer. What he's striving to do, he's saying that now, but we will inject it to the housing project, and this housing project will employ like directly 5 people and indirectly 8 people. And he's saying that you see now, like to contract like one house will employ 5 people, but then because we will need the cement, we will need the iron sheet. Now through that, like our manufacturing industry, of course, we will also employ 8 more. You see, and of course it's also saying, but now you see about importation, but we have raised taxes on products to be imported, so that at least like but our manufacturers at least will manufacture more. Okay. And this thing again, but you see like our exports has reduced immensely, but we were getting more than upward to 28 billion, but now we are getting almost 10. What he's saying is, but of course we want to increase our export processing zones. See, like at least so that we can create more employment to our people. Yes.
All right, I'm still there to understand how deducting a percentage from a person's salary is going to increase the tax bracket. I'm still there to get
Let
to
me-
understand how that happens,
But by
let-
deducting that, is injecting it in the housing project, which will employ people now.
how successful is going that housing project going to be? But before that, let me hear from you, Wakil.
Let me just weigh in, Vincent. There's a common slang or common phraseology that is going on in in Kenya right now, where they say Wakenya si wajinga bwana. I want to remind this government that Wakenya si wajinga. And I remember even when President Ruto was campaigning, and even during his, I think it was in the presidential debate or something, where he said that Kenyans, Kenya is not short of
Fools.
Kenya is not short of bright people and fools.
Yeah.
You see, this is one government. I think this the reason why Kenyans are not very happy with this government is that it is made up of persons who overpromised during the campaign trail. I remember there's one of, and I don't know whether you have that clip where I think the president was addressing persons in Kisii or somewhere during his campaign, and he was telling Kenyans that instead of now the previous administration, the Uhuru administration, instead of the previous administration addressing the issue of high fuel costs, they're busy addressing the wrong issues. And it even got to a point, I remember during that time when President Uhuru was trying to explain that the high fuel costs has been instigated by the Russia Ukraine war and the issue of COVID and so on and so forth. And I remember even President Ruto rubbished that explanation that President Uhuru back in the day gave, and he gave that explanation. And it is, he never knew that he would be faced with the same scenarios if he were to be president. And I remember even before the Ruto administration, I sat in this studio and I said that Ruto is not honest with Kenyans. And if he were to take government, as at that time, we never knew who was going to take government. And we were saying if he were to take government, he would be faced with the same scenarios. Fortunately, as it were, he is now the president. On the issue of fuel, more than 2 months ago, we were told that we are going to have a government-to-government arrangement from the United Arab Emirates to Kenya, and that. And I remember President Gachagua came in very forcefully and said that even the people who are holding dollars, and because he was saying it's because of the exchange rate, the dollar rate has gone up, and that is why the fuel cost is and so on and so forth. And even Kenyans were expecting that in the next announcement by EPRA that even fuel prices were going to go down. What happened? The fuel prices have either maintained or they've even gone higher, because I remember the price of kerosene went up by more than 30%.
Yeah, 16 shillings.
Yes, by 16 shillings. And so Kenyans were expecting that all the that this government was going to put up measures to ensure that the price of fuel goes down. But then it would appear like that price of fuel is not going that price of fuel is not going down anytime soon. And that is why now government is now shifting very slowly from discussing the issue of the price of fuel going down. They are now coming up with alternative fuel, or alternative energy measures, like electric cars, electric tuk-tuk, or by the month of September, 10% of Kenyans motorcycles will be electric. Why are we suddenly not discussing about the price of petroleum going up? And I can assure you that what holds what is the backbone of manufacturing in this country? It is fuel. You are not going to tell Devki steel companies that now shift from using coal or from using electricity or from using petroleum to now using more cheaper ways of producing steel. It is not going to work in the next 5 years. It's not going to work in the next 10 years. Let us discuss about bringing down the price of fuel. Right now, let us not divert the attention of Kenyans.
Yeah.
That is what I want to tell this government.
Yeah.
Let us discuss about bringing down the price of fuel like they had promised Kenyans in their campaign trail. Yes,
I mean, it's
you
a case of
said that the cost of fuel during President Kenyatta was high. and right now it is either the same or it has increased slightly.
Not
But
slightly.
now, let's differentiate, because during that time there was subsidy in place, and what you were saying was that you see, and you see, like, even that subsidy, like the poor were supposed to get this subsidy, did not get it. Those who are in the business of
Protection.
yes, like they did not get it. So that's why he came in. But now, you see, like as you were saying, you see, the cost of fuel, like, it is not within us to decide the price that the landing cost, and that is also a major determinant. So he's saying that if we cannot do this, then why can't we, at least we may not have it now, but we can have it later. We are bringing in electric vehicle. We are bringing in.
No. Let's
I'm going to answer him on this part of campaign
Promises.
Yes, campaign promises. You see, like, let me give an example with even Moses in the Bible. You see, when he went to the people of Israel, and he told them that, you see, like, now God has said that we are taking into the land of milk and honey. Of course, they were very happy. Okay, yes. But now on the way to Canaan,
they made so many hurdles.
Yes. So you see, like,
they went through a wilderness for that much. But my question I want to ask you, my friend Gundi, is
yes.
You talked about alternative means of trying to, move away from dependency on petroleum products, and one of them is to have electric vehicles.
Yes.
I mean, how practical is that in Kenya? This is Kenya, remember. We are, a growing economy for that matter. How practical is it that we are going now to shift from using petroleum-dependent transport to electric, electricity-based?
Vincent, that is a very pertinent question you've asked.
We already have them here. It's not a dream. They're already there. We have buses that are using electricity, like, outside here.
How many are they?
Yes, of course, like, for now, they may be a few.
We have like 12 electric buses in Kenya.
No.
No, there are 12. I mean, we had a chat with the companies that are dealing with that, and they have only produced 12. And they say those 12 are actually not working full mode. They're on trial.
Because, like, I've seen City Opa as them, I've seen Metro as them.
That's why I'm telling there are 12. you count all
okay.
them.
For the buses. For the buses.
Yes.
What about these cars, whatever?
That is individual. That's personal. But for the public transport, which is 80% of Kenyans depend on public transport.
But of course, you see, like, at least we have already begun. We are somewhere.
Yes.
So at least it's not, like, it's not a promise, or like it's not a, let's say, like, something that we are still gazing, but it's already on. It's already been tested. Listen, but they were 12. Okay. Of course, you see, like, when you're saying that now we are moving toward that direction, it is because they have seen that it is possible. Because, of course, like, you're trying with this time, it is possible. We can make it 100. We will make it 500. And of course, it's a progress.
Okay.
Can I
let me give you a chance to.
Yes. Can I give it another variable? And I think it's going to enhance that discussion on the issue of these electric cars.
Okay.
How affordable is electricity in Kenya?
Okay.
The other day, I purchased tokens for 1,000 shillings, and I was given 31 units, and almost 400 shillings of the 1,000 shillings went towards taxes and so on and so forth. So the equivalent of the tokens that I purchased was only of around 600 shillings, right? And so I'm asking myself, I'm trying to ask myself on the question of sustainability, in terms of this is an alternative energy source that is supposed to alleviate this whole madness that we have towards production and so on and so forth. We are now saying that let us shift towards electricity. How sustainable is it? How cheap is electricity? We may as well import, we may find ourselves in a situation whereby we are importing 1,000 trucks or 1,000 buses that are 1,000 electric buses, and then we find ourselves that we do not have the capacity. Kenya Power doesn't have the capacity, or that it is not even sustainable in the first place. That we thought, you remember when there was a debate around shifting motorized transport from using petroleum towards using LPG gas. Where has that debate gone to? And we even had all these Ubers, we had most of the Ubers were transitioning from using petroleum towards using LPG. Where has that debate gone to? Because it was found, or they came and realized that actually the price of using LPG versus the price of using this petroleum is almost, it's almost the same. There is a period when LPG was very affordable. And when this government was campaigning, it was telling Kenyans, we are going to reduce the price of LPG from a particular price to a particular price. When the president was having a State of the Nation the other day with journalists, with Vincent here, and that question came out, and then now the president was now being evasive about it, and he was saying, we never said about, we never talked about the LPG, we were talking about the LPG cylinders, right? And that is how conniving this government is. And we have to call a spade a spade. That this government kept, promised Kenyans that which they could not. Hold
on, Kevin. I want us to listen to the bite of the president yesterday on e-vehicles. Because he was, he concentrated on the border business and said, since you guys have been purchasing borders on credit and on punitive interests, we have come with a solution. The solution is that by September, we are going to launch e-borders, that's e-pikipikis, e-motorcycles, to help the border sector to move away from the punitive rates of interest that they get when they purchase these borders on credit. Can you have that bite? Then we continue the conversation here.
I have had many ask me, Mr. President, how is it my responsibility to think about those who do not have jobs? How is it my responsibility to think about the people who live in slums? 7 million Kenyans who live in slums, in indignity, without toilet, without running water, without roads. How is it my business? Let me ask the people of Kenya, if our freedom fighters, the people who made the ultimate sacrifice and lost their lives in liberating our nation, if they had asked the question that how is it their business, today we would continue to have been slaves of our masters if they asked themselves that question. It is our responsibility to ensure the people, 7 million of them, who live in our slums, including Shauri Yako here in Embu. I was here last week and I was informed about Shauri Yako. The people who live in Shauri Yako deserve a decent house, and it is our responsibility as we implement the housing plan, not just to create jobs, at least 1 million jobs every year. It is also our responsibility to grow our...
Sorry about that. That is not the bite that we are looking for. We wanted to listen to the president where he said that by September, all border guys are going to receive electric motorcycles for that matter. But again, immediately after that, there is this friend of mine called Professor Omenya who tweeted and asked a question. Is the transition, is the exchange, because the president said in exchange of the motorcycles, the petroleum dependent motorcycles, they are going to exchange for the electric motorcycles. The Professor Omenya asked, is the exchange going to be free? That's the question that Boda is asking out there. And now that is the affordability of the whole issue. Is the exchange going to be free?
No, he spoke about two things on the same issue. First is about bringing in electric boda.
Yes.
Then second was now about getting the boda on loan, because now he was saying,
okay,
but for now they are getting it at punitive measures, because at a very high cost.
Yes.
Because when that boda that could have costed you 140,000 to purchase, if you purchase it immediately, will cost you around 300,000.
Okay.
Yes. So he was saying that now we are working on that now it will not be that punitive, okay? And again, we are bringing in electric so that at least to solve this issue of fuel. And of course, he asked if it will be sustainable because also electricity is also expensive. But again, I'll remind him that you see, the world is moving away from petroleum product, okay, because of the climate issues. So of course, we are on the right track, and of course, we are also working on reducing the cost of electricity. And of course, like this thing can't just happen like in one day. But you see, we promised we will reduce the cost of electricity. We promised we will bring the cost of fuel down. Now we are in power, and it is down. You see, it is a process. Yes, they follow channel.
Okay, let me ask you a question, and I believe this is a question that most Kenyans are asking.
Yeah.
Did the Kenya Kwanza government overpromise when they were campaigning?
You know, the problem is that people are expecting that you promised us these 10 things. Now give us now. Of course, yes, we promise, but we can't give.
You gave yourself timelines. The administration gave itself timelines in 60 days, in 100 days, all that. In the first year, actually, the issue on NHIF also is an issue right about now, because I know NHIF is basically not working in counties. If you ask questions, our mothers are telling us they cannot go to hospitals using the cards because the hospital have told them, when you come to hospital, you're going to pay cash because NHIF has not disbursed the funds to the counties. These are some of the questions that Kenyans are asking, because when Kenya Kwanza was actually campaigning, they said up to December 2022, December last year, we are going to ensure that every Kenyan is in the universal health coverage and all that. This has not happened. Did you overpromise as the government, now that you are here and you align yourself to the Kenya Kwanza?
You know, like when they were campaigning, of course, like
no, when you were campaigning.
Okay.
Yes, because we at least there is we have an agreement that you are UDA and UDA is you.
Yes, in fact, like I'm in UDA.
Yes.
I ran for nomination, and of course I campaigned for this regime. So of course I can say that during the campaigns, okay, let me say that during the campaigns, of course we were not in office, but I will not say that because like we were not in office, so you could not know like how the coffers will be when you get into power. So at least things are different. But when you hear the president yesterday, when you he said that we are still on track, but we promised you about this universal health care, about changes in HIF. Of course, we are still on those track. Of course, like you have not realized they have not realized what we promised on that angle, but of course, we are still on that track. Yes.
Okay, according to you on track, did the Kenya Kwanza government overpromise, or they were not aware of the
Vincent,
the environment they're going to get?
The answer to that question is as good as you know. Everyone knows the answer to that question. Yes, they did overpromise. They did, and if there is one person who is very good in giving promises and giving timelines, it is His Excellency the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto. He is one guy who will get a platform and he will give promises and say, within the next 60 days, we promise that we are going to do this. In fact, in the next 1 hour, we are going to implement 1, 2, 3. And in the next 1 year, we are going to. If there is one person who gives himself timeline, it is this president, Dr. William Samoei Ruto. He gives himself timelines. And let me tell you one thing. Just in answering your question, he overpromised. And my good friend here cannot be heard to be saying that they never understood what was in the government coffers or in the treasury or whatever it is in the consolidated fund. For crying out loud, this president that we have right now was the deputy president back then. He knew what was. This is one person who received government government intelligence briefs every day in the morning. It is not that it's not like he was giving promises out of the blues. He understood what he was getting himself in. He was the deputy president, for crying out loud. So insofar as the promises that he gave Kenyans is concerned, he knew what he was promising Kenyans. It is not too much for Kenyans to ask. You promised us that you are going to give us mandazi for breakfast this morning. Kindly give us mandazi for this kindly give us mandazi for breakfast this morning. It's not difficult, or it's not so much for Kenyans to ask.
This is how government works. First he's saying that he was the DP, he was receiving intelligence. You see, where they could have discussed or where he could have known how things are working is in the cabinet. But there was never cabinet, or if there was, he was not invited. But then, you see, like about the promises. You see, this is how government works. You see, like you have your financial year. You have your budget. So you see, like, he has not, this is his first budget. Okay? So you see, like, what he promised are supposed to align with his budget. So like a petition budget if he's implementing like what he promised. Because of course he has still been, like he was running on the previous financial year for the former president. Yes.
You see, are we? The question that then we should be asking ourselves is that is there money that this government can use for the intervening period before they pass their first budget? That is the 2020. That is the 2023-2024 budget. Is there money? And my answer to that here is yes, there is money, and that is why all the county governments right now are doing a supplementary bill, and that is why even the national government itself is doing a supplementary bill to cater for the period, for this period of time before they then start utilizing the monies that they are going to budget for the financial year 2023-2024. I mean, you can't be working on a supplementary bill for monies that are non-existent, meaning that there is money, and that is why they are realigning the monies that are there to fit the manifesto that they promised Kenyans. It means that then there is money.
Yeah. Yes, there is money, yes, and there is also a plan. But now the plan that we have been running on was not my plan. Because now, because the plan is now that financial bill that should be passed for, now is the first. Okay, this is the first one, okay?
Okay.
And of course, they are passed on yearly basis. So that this year, these are my priorities and these are what I want to achieve. So this is my financial bill. And also it was running on the previous financial year.
Yeah, there's no problem, and that is why I'm saying, is there money or there is no money? There is money.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if there is money, how long does it take for you as a government? Because however much time we are going to take, we are already in the month of June. Right?
Yeah. And
now, it's like a driver.
Financial year.
It's like a driver. Now, I'm now on the STRV. Of course, like you are heading to town with a different driver. But now I'll take you to town because that's where you are heading. But then now from town now, I'm taking you to a new destination. That's what he's saying. But now, of course, there is money, yes. That's why there are these supplementary budgets and bills and whatever, you see, to need this money. But now after that, now these are my plans with this money, and that's what I want to achieve.
So let me ask you, and I know probably the prerogative to ask questions will be coming from Vincent, but then let me allow me to ask this question.
Right.
Are you then telling Kenyans that things are going to, we are going to totally see a different country as from 2023, as from 2023 in the month of June, that we are going to see, we are this Kenyans is going, this country is going to experience a eureka moment as from June or July of 2023.
I won't call it a eureka moment, but of course I'll call it, of course it will be different. Either it will be more tough because as
you are saying, it's going to be more tough. Why? Is it because of the finance bill 2023?
Yes, you see, let us be honest here. Even you remember Isaac Maura Honorable and Honorable Maoka Maure. Yeah. You see, both are among the few honest politicians. Because even before the fallout between president and the former president, they could say that, by the way, the next regime will have to feel it. Because actually, like, what they will be getting will be either be empty coffers with no money to be raised, because economy will be tough on Kenyans. So that's why I'm saying, because that if the president is going slow on borrowing, but then of course it will be very, very difficult for Kenyans. Because remember, like, that the previous regime, or the fifth, like, he was borrowing to subsidize, because he knew that the revenue he was getting could not be enough.
The fourth, the fifth.
Oh yes, the fourth. Yes, he was borrowing to subsidize and to run the government. But now the fifth is saying that you see, like, our debt score is not that good, and we can't borrow more, or we can't postpone our problems. So let's take this bitter pill now to enjoy in the future. Yes.
And even as we do that, and I want us to really try to conclude, because I know Wakili was supposed to rush somewhere at 9 a.m. I mean, even as we look to take the bitter pill, is the government taking the bitter pill itself? Because when you look at the priorities and what is doing, look at the 50 CSS. These are, you know, people that are put on a payroll, and they're going to be paid lots of money, yet the government is saying Kenya should take a bitter pill. Is the government itself taking a bitter one?
It is, because, like, when they say that we want to reduce the government expenditure by at least 300 billion. So I believe that they are also taking that bitter pill, because now on.
But that has not actually come out in all the expenditures of the government in the previous few months. That the cutting down of the 300 billion has not come out clearly.
Clearly, but it will come out eventually.
When?
But now, see, let me speak about this, because it is the topic of the day, or outside there. But you see, you overpromised, or you promised us, but we are not seeing it now. You see, when you're planning, your expectation is that things will happen the way I planned them. But sometimes, like, it is not the same.
What are the contingency plans? Because you need to have a plan and a contingency one when the plan A does not work.
Yes.
What's the fallback, and how are you going to ensure that now you change your whole planning to suit the environment that you find yourself in?
That is the question. But unfortunately, so now when you are in a plan B, not people will be saying, but no, you didn't promise us plan B, you promised us plan A. But now they don't understand that now things have not worked out the way you planned them. Because you see, even like the way God planned, or its original plan, like, it did not work. You see, like, a plan that of course people will just believe in, it will be what, like, how do I put it?
People will not die.
Yeah, people will not die, like, it just
communion with him forever.
Exactly. But it did not work out. Or when a plan that now will take these people to a hand of milk and honey, but see, now things came in, and now you have to change his plan. Now they have to take 40 years in wilderness before they reach the land. Yeah. Right. So, but that's
don't preach, please.
Yeah, so the same.
Let me just tell you, Vincent. The best word that describes this government is clueless.
Is it not a big one? That's a big word.
No, it is. You even saw the other day when the government spokesperson was put to task to explain some of these policies that they want to implement, and the way that guy was sweating on national television.
Remember the PS for housing?
Yes, and even
urban planning.
And Charles Hinga. A very simple thing that falls squarely in his docket as the PS. And there is an honest presumption that the PS is the technocrat in the running of the affairs of the ministry that he's been given.
Yeah.
And I even remember this government spokesperson is called this
Hussein Mohammed.
Hussein Mohammed was even looking at him in dismay, and he was even wondering what has become of this guy. Why can't he just explain a very simple concept, which I would want to trust that as a technocrat, it was a very simple concept to him. The 3% housing levy. How is it? Is it a levy? Is it a tax? Is it how will it be collected? How is it going to be utilized?
But now to make people understand it. Now we're struggling like to bring it down.
And that is why I'm saying
simplify.
If it becomes difficult,
to see like to him, he understands it. Yes.
No, he doesn't understand it.
Make you understand it.
No. My brother doesn't.
Was sweating.
It doesn't work like that.
There is a saying that goes,
yes,
that your intelligence is measured by how you talk,
and how you explain, how you simplify concepts,
a complex matter,
exactly. And that is why I'm saying we are all students. We've all been in classes somewhere, right? And if a lecturer comes to class and explains a concept, and he decides to measure your understanding of that concept by way of subjecting you to an exam, he does not expect you to paraphrase that concept as he explained it during the teaching process. He expects that you are going to, in your own wisdom, try to break it down so that you make the lecturer understand that you actually conceptualized whatever it is that he taught you. This is a PS who cannot explain, who cannot break it down to Kenyans in a very simplistic way. That this is what we mean by, when we say, we are imposing a 3% housing levy and so on and so forth. This government is clueless. I can tell you, this government is clueless. It is going to take them time before they conceptualize whatever it is that they gave to Kenyans. They just need to go back to the dream. I think they all need to be taken back to, I don't know whether it is the Kenya School of Government or whatever, institution that they ought to be taken to, for them to understand what is it that is the manifesto of this government, what is it that President Ruto wants for Kenyans, for them to understand, and then now they can come out here and now try to operationalize it, or try to conceptualize it, or try to make it work. We are dealing with people who even do not know what even President Ruto probably in the first place wants or even needs.
Vincent.
All right, can you rebut even as we?
Yeah, like the president was saying yesterday, but at least we have come from very far. But this is the first time now, but we are now discussing things like
economy,
things of national matters.
The conversation is all about economy.
It has changed because like if you can remember, like in the previous regimes, like after during the first president, we were saying that now you see like he prioritized people from Mount Kenya. Then when the next president came in, it was about he followed the footstep. If you did not vote for this government, then you won't get services as others. When President Kibaki came in, the same was there. And even during the coalition government, they were saying that now you see even at the office of the prime minister, and now most employees there like they are Luos, then Maasais. So you see like what has been the conversation, but now it's not the same. You see now like what discussing.
What about the shareholding utterances from the deputy president
and the government being a company,
a limited company?
There's difference between like what is being said and what is being done.
No.
You see, and you see like, and even about this issue of taking DPP AG to the now intelligence. You see, even the people that have taken that matter to court were saying, but of course it is record breaking that in the previous regimes they were taking people from their ethnic community to the CDF and to the NAS management. And of course, like that will speak, you see, it began, I think, from 1964, when the then CDF was accused of planning a coup. So since then, like you find that those two sectors or those two positions are always at the heart of president. So we'll try that those who are very close to him or from his ethnic community are the who are occupying those positions. But as you can see now that things are changing, Okay, and of course we can appreciate that. So when you say that this government is clueless, then I don't know what you're saying, because you see,
Vincent,
there is difference between what you are saying and reaction on the ground.
Let me substantiate my why I'm saying this government is clueless, and I'm not going to depart from that statement. This government is clueless. We cannot have people discussing issues of economy if the economy is thriving. The only time when we are going to have people discussing issues of economy is when the economy is doing badly, and that is why people are discussing economy. We cannot have people discussing the issues of economy if the price of sugar would be 100 shillings. We could not have people discussing the issues of economy if unga would have gone down to 90 bob or 80 shillings like the way they were promising us during the campaigns. So the economy is bad, and that is why people are, and that is why people are talking about issues of economy. And this government should not be seen to celebrate that people are discussing the issues of economy, and that people are not discussing other issues. We are discussing the issues of economy because the economy is bad. That is one. Two, if there is one government that should not be heard to be discussing the issues of nepotism and tribalism, it is this government. This government has even been called out by the religious institutions because they've been employing Kipto and Kipruto and Kipkirwa and whatever it is in all government appointments. It is for the first time. It has never happened in the history of this country that the churches will come out and say that these guys that there is nepotism in the employment of Kenyans. It has never happened. It has happened in this regime. In fact, we are no longer surprised. In fact, I remember even in the social media there is a joke where now Kenyans are saying that Kenyans should start now learning Kalenjin as a language, because it would appear like it is now it will be one of the interview questions. You get into an interview room and then you are greeted in Kalenjin, and if you can't respond, then you don't merit to be given that job. It is during this regime. When we come to the issues of of saving on costs and so on and so forth, you brought in the discussion about the 50 CSs. Even after the court has said that these people should not report to their work, they should not be paid, these people are still executing their mandates. What is this government telling us about about costs and saving and the economy? This government cannot tell us anything about costs and saving if they continue the same trajectory that they have taken. Not this regime. Probably I heard you people talking about the 4th and the 5th, probably the 6th, but then not in this current dispensation.
But even as we conclude, let me ask you then as you answer. Do you think that this government needs a reset and to relook at themselves and then get going again?
If there was that button, I would have helped them to press that reset button.
Before I think. Of course, like, we don't need a reset. We are on the right track. That is the first thing. But of course, I wish I could ask him to substantiate when he talks about nepotism. But because of time, I will not. Then I'll take you back to just during this same week. I was adding I had some pundits saying that during around 2004 and 2005, President Kibaki was very unpopular. Because of what he was doing. But then you see after, people were very happy. And of course he also gave an example of Brasilia, the capital city. You see, the president who commissioned its construction and whatever, of course it was ousted out by a military junta. But now as we speak, almost all the world want to see that city.
Rio de Janeiro.
Yes. So you see, when you're doing the right thing, or let me just give the last example. You see, let's say that you have twisted your arm, okay? Unajua ukifinywa, of course you feel pain, and bado kila daktari bado unasikia tu uchungu kimona. But after you recover, of course things will be good. As he's saying that economy is tough. Is it the president's fault but it is tough? No. The question is, what is he doing about it? That is where we should put our focus. Is he doing something about it? Yes, he's doing something about it. Yes.
Okay, even as we conclude, because time has really gone, and I just want to use your analogy. You said that if, of that twisted arm, but again, I think it needs skill to make sure that you don't make the hand worse. It also needs you to have those soft, humane skills that this is a human being I'm dealing with, this an arm of a human being. Even if I'm trying to untwist it and make it better, I have to be human in all this, and that's my take. Even Wakili, as you conclude.
I wouldn't have said it any better, Vincent. You've summarized in a very Solomonic way. That even as we are now, let's use this analogy that our friend has said. Even as we are trying to correct this twisted arm, we are saying that let us do it in a professional way. You wouldn't go and take a hammer and try to beat the arm into form or into place. So it needs skill, it needs intelligence, it needs that human face, it needs everything that can be employed to ensure that then in trying to correct that which has already been that which has been twisted, because we have a very twisted economy right now and a very twisted government right now, that we do it in a very professional way, we do it in a very humane way. We should not be like Pastor Mackenzie in Shakahola, who says that you need to die today so that you enjoy the fruits of your death in the next life. That is not what Kenyans want, because by the time we are getting to the next life, of course, people will be dead. Yes.
All right.
You know what? They're not the arm will always cry.
All right. I think I've loved the analogies, and we might need the Solomonic interpretation as far as that's concerned, but I want us to call it a morning here. But even as we conclude, now we are done with the finance bill, that period of Kenyans giving their feedback and all they think. Did you guys present a memorandum about the same on the Finance Bill 2023? Did you? Okay.
I haven't done as a person much as I've had the time to interrogate the bill. The only problem that we have as Kenyans is that we so much rely on either social media or mainstream media to give us a breakdown or an analysis of the bill. What Kenyans are failing to understand is the finance bill is actually an act of parliament that is passed into law. So I've had an opportunity of going through the finance bill. Though I haven't exhausted, but what I can say is that more than 50% of that bill would be very punitive to Kenyans in the next 4 or 5 years.
Okay. All right. Do I need to ask you your views on the same? I know you for it. Is there a clause you feel that should be relooked?
What I can say about it is that we just need to simplify it so that people can understand. Yeah, that is where the issue is. But people don't understand it.
Okay. All right. I'm told my time is up. Thank you, gentlemen, for being with us this morning. It's been a great conversation about the Madaraka, the Madaraka for that matter. And I was looking at the Azimio parliamentarians yesterday saying there is nothing to smell about the speech of the president yesterday, but you have had an opportunity to give your views, and I believe that the viewer out there has gained a thing or two about the same. We wait and see how this thing develops out. The bipartisan talks are either broken or they suspended. We don't know, but we know the leader of opposition, for that matter, the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, says they have given the government until Monday to see how, if they are going to, actually they are saying they repeal the whole bill, Finance Bill 2023. Wait and see how this is going to go forward. But the talks, the bipartisan, are they there or they are not? All right, guys, then let me know to open another Pandora box and there is another conversation. My name is Vincent Kerosi. I've been with Biko Shioya. He's an advocate of the High Court, and I know that he's rushing out. And of course, I have been with my friend here, Kelvin Gundi, a political commentator and an ardent of the UDA party. Jubilee party, is it on your side or as in your party? All right, guys, see you again next time. God bless. Enjoy your weekend. My name is Vincent Kerosi. Goodbye.